am so excited about my coffee chat today with my friend, Jen O'Brien. Oh my gosh. I've been talking to you guys about her for the last week or so, making posts and just telling you how excited I am to spend this time with her. I'm going to bring her on in just a second. She's backstage waiting. But for those of you that have never been on one of these coffee chats, I just want to tell you a little bit about what I do. I am sitting in a space in my basement. My family and I lovingly call the Cubby Hole. This is a place that was God inspired to create to bring people from our community in to offer laughter, light, and love. It's reflective of a little space from when I was a little girl that my grandparents had under their basement called the Cubby Hole. And when I was going through trying times as a young kid, I would always go in there and just experience laughter, light, and love just for so many different reasons. And I always felt better when I left the Cubby Hole than when I went in. So that's what the goal is here with our coffee chats. I like to shine light on the awesome, incredible people in my life that are so gifted, talented, loving, and to share what they do, to share their gifts, but just as important to share their stories. So I'm going to bring on my friend Jen O'Brien. She's a stand-up comedian, hilarious. We're going to talk a little bit about how we met. She has a mix of doing stand-up and everyday characters and observational humor, which we'll talk a little bit about, and the what-if scenarios. She's been seen on Nick at Nite's Funniest Mom in America, and she's been performing stand-up comedy since the late 90s. And she lives in Atlanta, which is where her and I met officially. And so all y'all, just welcome my friend Jen O'Brien. Here she comes. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here.
We officially met in Atlanta in a little cabin because some of our now very close comedy buddies, we were all kind of meeting each other. There was about 8 of us women. Mm-hmm. We all congregated in this little cabin. Oh, such a precious moment in time in my life. And I know for all of us, right? Mm-hmm. We spent the weekend together, just coming together as fellow comedians and speakers. That's how Jen and I met. And we just wanted to do little mini workshops together, but mostly just talk about the things that you go through when you do speaking in comedy. And you and I were lucky enough to be paired up as roommates. And remember, we solved all the world's problems.
We did.
You are doing so many amazing things. I've truly, genuinely been so excited to have you on here because I want to talk about your stand-up comedy, and I can't wait to get to your latest project. But would you mind just starting off by talking about just how did stand-up comedy happen for you? And was it easy breezy all along, just no problem, no fear? Or just tell us a little bit about your journey there.
So easy. I started, let's see, I found myself at, was I 22 when I first started? I was a single mom. By 21, I was a single mother. And I was in Orlando working towards going. I wanted to go into directing. I really did want to be an actress at heart. But then I thought, well, let's go get a directing background so then I can always be working regardless if I get a acting job or not. Right. So, but then I got pregos, and that put a bit of a damper on my plan. And it was the best thing to happen to me because I was pretty out there, and it was such a gift. So I found myself here. I moved to Atlanta at 21. I was raised by a single mom. I had a conviction that I really wanted to be there for my daughter. So now I raised her in poverty and everything, but mama was there. We didn't have much.
Sometimes it's the best way, honestly. Like that's, I can relate with that. That's where the lessons come in, and you learn so much when you don't have a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
As a mom,
I'm very resourceful. So I was waiting tables at Outback, story of my life, always waiting tables somewhere. And I just was making everybody laugh like I normally do. And it's like, oh, you're so funny. And I was like, maybe I should try stand up. And so I took a workshop class here in Atlanta, and I was sold from that point on. I just, I've been doing stand up, and, at the beginning I did it a lot more, then life happened, and then I got married, and then I had another daughter. And then, so I you know, my family's always come first, you know, that's just been how it is. So, you know, now that I'm older and my kids are older and I'm now still doing comedy, and sometimes I just have to remember I didn't make a lot of sacrifices for my career early on. I just, it was something I enjoyed and I did it. But my pride, and I can look back at that now. There's that part of me as a woman that's like, oh, I should have did more back then. I should have stayed. I should have got better. I could have honed it better. All those things go through your head. But then I thought, well, you know, I did the best I could. Yeah. So anyway, let's unpack all that right now.
What's that?
Let's unpack all that right now. How long we got? 3 hours? Okay.
I know. I would just talk forever. For sure. I mean, just this topic alone, because you're prioritizing, but you do so much. And how old are your girls now?
24 and 16.
Okay, so you have your 16-year-olds still, probably around a lot. But I can see you. I can see you doing more. Not that we need to be identified by doing more, but doing more in comedy, and so consistently with your latest project. But I love that. Did you have when you jumped in to comedy? Did you have anything holding you back other than obviously not holding you back with kids, but that was joyfully consuming most of your time? But as far as jumping into comedy, how did that go for you? Did you start and then say, "Ooh, I'm scared," or maybe a comparison with other people?
Yeah, I think back then it's like, so that was back in the late 90s. There wasn't like all we have today, like with YouTube, and there's such a vision, like that we could do so much with videos now. So back then you didn't have all these social platforms. You would just go to a comedy club and that was it. That was your only source of creativity and your only outlet, at least for me. But I think, looking back, there were some bigger opportunities that were presented to me. And I could tell you without a doubt, the reason I didn't take them was fear. They were like, I'm not trying to hide that. Like I was just the fear of the unknown. So there is that grieving where I look back and I like, gosh, I never went after some agents that approached me or a bigger opportunities that happened. Then I'm like, why didn't I do that? I was really afraid. Like I had so much fear anyway, just being a single mom, the unknown. But that was really it, but then you get older. And you hit a thing called midlife crisis, and then you like fear schmear, and you just kind of whatever the fear is always going to be there, but you got enough, what you said this morning, data that overrides that, and you're like, okay, I could play the scenario out and miss an opportunity. But sometimes it's like I think those missed opportunities, those things where you do let fear hold you back. It only, for me, when the opportunities come again, because they will, I'll be ready. And honestly, I was not ready before. I look back, I was like, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to do the work. I wasn't ready to make the sacrifices, because my heart was, I was a mom. I was, then I became a wife, and then I had 2 daughters. So that was my priority. And now I can with confidence say, you know what, I think there was the fear, even though it was fear, in a sense, I think it protected me from maybe, just going in a direction that I wasn't really ready for. So.
And that's powerful that you say that you weren't really ready for it. You knew it then, like there was a little hint of it, but now looking back, like if you, had a wish and you could go back and do it differently, I'm guessing you probably wouldn't do it differently because you had the girls. Would you think you would?
No, well, I think I wish if I could have just worked more at it. Like regardless of, but I don't know, it's all, it's hard to say that. I mean, and more time, put more time now, maybe 5 more years from now, I may look back and say no regrets at all. I did it exactly how I should. Yeah. I think there were some things left, but there was just a lot of unhealed stuff within me that I just wasn't ready to get out there. And there was just work that had to be done within me.
Yeah.
And that's really this journey, you know, it's just, now I feel like I've done so much of that kind of soul work, so to speak, that I wasn't ready. I mean, if I was ready then, I think I would have gone for it then. But there was just a lot of stuff that I had to work out within myself. So, I don't regret that, because then, gosh, what would that have looked like? I mean, what would, you know, had I gotten out there? But anyway.
I love that. And that wisdom that you gained is it's the byproduct of the waiting. And that's just so powerful, because having done it any other way, just other than the way that you just felt you needed to do, you wouldn't have that feeling too, that wisdom that you could give to women to maybe work at it, but don't make it your major if that's not what you're feeling, but to, chop away at it. But that priority with the kids, you can never, you can't get that back. And they,
Yeah. And I think now it's like, well, then they can watch me build a career now. They didn't get to see me really build anything. Mom, I would just pop
and it
out
goes either way. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you froze. I hope I'm not interrupting you. With women.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. Who's frozen? Am I frozen? You're frozen. Hello? Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Should we do it again? Stretch it? I don't know. Am I not frozen, but Marlo is? What's happening here? Oh, you gotta love technology. Let me imitate. Marlo, this is how you're frozen. Should I hang up and come back on? Now it's just me. Oh, now it's just me. I'm watching it from my phone. I don't know. But, oh, now it's just me here on Facebook Live. Well, hello. Oh, stay there. I'm staying here. So it's just great. Just me hanging out in the house, waiting for Marlo. She got frozen, drinking coffee, black coffee. No sugar, no cream. It's very bitter. I'm tolerating it. So it's just nice to be here. And, thanks for joining me. Marlo got frozen and she's no longer with us. R.I.P. No, she's coming back. She's coming back. So I'm just going to sit here and I don't even know. I guess I am live because I'm live on this. So, Real Housewives of the Quarantine, you got to check out the show, Jennifer O'Brien Comedy. I'll just plug myself right now. Oh, look, the shirt's on. These shirts, they're available for purchase. And you got to get one because, this pandemic, it's just going and going and going. And so you want to look really cool while you're sitting at home on some sort of Facebook Live where the host disappears. You want to look really good in these situations. And here she's back.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Helen. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been so excited to come and talk with you. I love your show.
Thank you. I've just been selling merchandise. That's all. I just carpe diem the moment.
Are you selling? Did you sell your blue coffee cup? Did you sell the pillows on the couch? What were you selling?
I'm plugging my t-shirts. I'm like, ladies, you're at home. Why not look good while you're sitting at home staring at your husband like, really? That's okay. But
I'm cracking up. I'm yelling, David, honey, is the internet out? I don't know what happened. Anyway, just to bring this last conversation full circle, sometimes it's same true men and women, but it's like what we kind of age old, beat ourselves up. If we're doing this, we want to be doing this, or we wish we'd have done more, or vice versa. And it's just so hard to, really, we feel like we have to get it perfect and get it right. But I just, I really appreciate your journey and you sharing that and the process of overcoming.
I don't know. Is anybody out there like so arrogant, like, oh, I've done life perfectly, no regrets? I mean, I think they are, and we all find those people really annoying. You're like, okay, I can't be around you. Yeah. So listen, I'm just real. Like, I don't know. I'm sure I know I made tons of mistakes. Like, there's times, like I said, like now I can build a career and I can at least set an example for my daughters. Like, hey, work hard at something, believe in yourself. I didn't quite, that wasn't in me 20 years ago. I'll tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm. So much wisdom we gain in it all of it. So thank you for sharing that. I love your journey. I want to, speaking of that, okay, so when I first met you, like we were just talking about in Atlanta, I walked in the door and our friend Kay Dodd, we started chatting about, who was going to be there. I was excited to meet everybody. And she was telling me about you. And she's like, have you ever seen her characters? I'm like, I know, I know. And it just sounded so exciting to learn more about what you do. You stand up, but you also have always, and that's what I was saying when I'm watching you and I'm watching you develop these things even more consistently and so powerfully. You guys, she has this show, these clips that you've been producing called, plug it, The Real House. The Real House of Quarantine. I'm going to show a clip. Can't wait to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play it and then I'll just kind of fast forward so they can get a feel for each of the characters. But this is where your girlfriends, who are they? Let's see, Roxy, Jazz, Sabrina. Who else do we have? Is there
Joan and Kathy?
Joan and Kathy. I can't wait to share them. It's so funny. I was showing David again last night. I'm like, you've seen this, right? Because she is so funny. Tell everybody how that evolved. I know you've had the characters kind of a la carte here and there, but you brought them together.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I was just sitting there and we all are under this pandemic and it's like, I can't leave my house. And I just started thinking of different things to do, videos to make. And I don't know, like, I'm constantly looking at content, and it just came to me, what about the Real Housewives of the Quarantine? And then it was like, boom, I was sold. And I think I originally was like landed on 4 characters. And even Sabrina, she's Australian. I didn't even know I was going to make her Australian. When I was filming it, I couldn't get what I wanted out of just my voice. So, and then we got another character got introduced about, week episode 5 or something. Joan came aboard, and I don't know. It's just, I'm sitting here, I'm in my house and I'm watching TV and I just get to see everything that we're all experiencing. And then it gets to come out in a character and in a voice of the character. So it's just keeping me out of trouble is what it's doing. And, but it's fun. I don't know. It's giving me something to do while I'm sitting here. I can't sit. So,
it's interesting because I'm imagining that you have always had these different voices that you do organically. Mm-hmm. Maybe did it start by just making your family laugh, and then you're like, oh, I like that one? Or how did the actual characters themselves, where were they inspired?
Where did they come from? Well, you get to have no, I think growing up, I don't know, it was just a natural. I remember putting shows on for my grandparents, just my sister and I just cracking up. We, of course, watched obscene amounts of television in the 80s, and you just watch characters. And I've always gravitated to characters. Anytime I could see something different or unusual, it's like, I just want to stop everything and watch and learn and see why this person is making me like laugh, or just, it's doing something. So I've just gravitated to, and I still, if I'm out somewhere and someone walks in and it's like, they start talking and I'm like, oh, you sense it. Like, and I don't know. It's those everyday characters. Like, I always wished I could be like the kind of comedian that could do all these impersonations of this person and that person.
You do.
I feel like I do impersonations of my neighbors 2 doors down. I got her. But like, it has to be something that I don't know. Maybe I could develop that as a comedian and just get better at impersonations. But I gotta just be able to get there. And it takes time.
You are there though, because impersonations are videotaping the person in your mind and imitating it, and you do. Maybe people don't know jazz, but you it's like, okay, I'm going to show this clip because you just, everybody is so different, and that's what I love about it, is that they're all so different, and you just nail it. But talk about, like, because one thing that you do on that I absolutely love, and it caught my eye right away, is Little House on the Prairie. Because I'll tell you, during this quarantine, I'm just choosing. I'm not, unless I need to know, I'm really not watching the news. I'm on Cozy TV, Me TV while I'm doing stuff. I'm watching Andy Griffith and Little House on the Prairie. Like, I need to just fill my mind with that wholesomeness. So just while I'm sharing the screen, share with us where those inspirations came from, just to start with Little House on the Prairie. Here we are, quarantine, it's just such a big, we've come into a simpler time, we're all just in our homes again. And of course, you and I grew up, we're the 70s, 80s. I mean, it's like Real House, not Real House, Little House on the Prairie, Little Half Pint, like Laura Ingalls. Who didn't want to be Laura Ingalls? Right. So I don't know. It just, for some reason, that theme song just came to mind. And then, I just love the opening sequence. So I just was like, well, I'll snag that, and tried to put the t-shirt. The graphics are just like the cursive real Little House on the Prairie. So yeah, I'm by myself again. Marlo's disappeared. And so yeah, that's, I just, who doesn't love Little House on the Prairie, And, Mary goes blind. We all know Mary goes blind, and then somehow she's not again. And, and if we all remember Little House on the Prairie Christmas episode, remember that one? That was nice. The episode where the storm came in, right? The blizzard. Some of the kids died on that Christmas episode. Unlike any other Christmas episode on any other show, there was death. And somehow Little House on the Prairie just exposed us to life's realities, and we were able to kind of process that, as it prepared us for the quarantine, is really what it did. So prepared us for COVID-19. Who would have thought? So I'm still here by myself. So Marla's back. This is like comedy unfolding right here. I'm literally talking to you. I'm over here, looking over here, trying to get the video going. Yeah. And I did not pop myself back in because my internet cut out again. So you know what I'm gonna do? When you see this on YouTube, y'all, maybe I'll leave the glitches, maybe I won't. Here comes The Real Wives of the Quarantine, produced by Jennifer O'Brien. Now here is where I'm going to have to. Please hold for technical difficulties.
Holding.
Please hold. Do you see it playing, Jen?
Yeah.
I love, and you even have her fall down at the end, which cracks me up.
So here I am outside of the TJ Maxx that is open. And I'm in a dilemma.
This girl.
Because there's a part of me that wants to go in and see what's on clearance. And then there's the other part of me that's petrified of the corona. Clearance, corona. I heard about the first socially distanced concert this weekend. Yeah, it's going to take place in Arkansas. Everyone's going to...
I'm just going to fast forward to the character.
These restaurants are running at half capacity right now.
Who is this?
That's Joan.
Cleared up from all my physical injuries from my TikTok incident. However, there are some new injuries. You can't see these injuries, because they're on the inside, they're emotional injuries. I've been a victim of cyberbullying. So I've had several people ask since we started the Real Housewives of the Quarantine, what I do to be so beautiful, and they want me to do some sort of makeup tutorial. And I don't want to give away all my beauty secrets or nothing, but I can just walk you through some basics.
I love her. I'm going to breeze through here. Here comes. Oh,
we always remarry, but we have gone through 2 divorces.
Oh my gosh,
everybody
that line.
has to stay socially distanced and wear their masks. So it'll be really like my high school prom. Well, minus the mask, but pretty much everybody keeping their distance from me.
One lady, she was in Pennsylvania. She had to wait 3 hours for the lobster. She lost her marbles. Everyone's getting hangry right now. You know, they're stuck in the house. They finally get out. Food's not ready. People need to pack supplies, man. I got about 3 Snickers bars. I got Hershey Kisses in my back pocket.
People say all sorts of horrific things, you know, and I get positive feedback, and I love that. That encourages me keep going. So when I see WTF, I think, oh, that's great. Watch the fun. They enjoy me. They're having a great time, and it makes me happy. But it's the other comments that are very hateful. You know, Gabby 103, you know who you are. And first off,
oh my God, I gotta share. Where's the? Let's see. I gotta. My favorite. This.
If anybody just looks at me like they got corona, I'm gonna just lather myself in this. You know, get it all in my pores. I'm gonna protect and hope.
Oh my gosh!
It's for this concert. If there are, VIP stands for very.
There's one here. This little clip right here. Love this.
I keep a taco in my glove box.
Not that close.
And then the taco, that makes me laugh. So funny. And how long did it take you to write all this?
I think each week I just kind of come up with the ideas, and I do a lot of, I you know, for the sake of the show, I try to know what's going on in with everything with the coronavirus. So. And I just try to figure out what character is going to deliver what lines and how that can be, you know, woven into the storyline. So, you know, a lot of times it's a couple lines that'll come to my mind. I'm like, okay, I'll say that. Or sometimes a lot of it's improv too. I'll just kind of know I have a general premise, an idea, and then I'll just kind of go with it and see what happens as I'm in that character, see what kind of flows out. So
good. So talented. I wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about, speaking of the Real Housewives, just talking about some real life stuff and just talking about some truth on some things. One is your character. Is it Sabrina who's talking about the hater?
Yeah, she was cyber-bullied. Yeah. She got some height. So yeah, it was funny. I was using Google AdWords on YouTube and decided to promote the show, and so that just pushes it to anybody. And so I got a lot of like mixed messages, and
everyday thing. I mean, whether you're putting yourself out there in social media or on a stage or just, you know, in everyday life, we all go through this. So just talk about that and how you worked through that process.
Yeah. Well, after like my initial, like seeing who said it and then going to their YouTube channel and being like, what are they in middle school? Most of them were, you know, of course, who's not angry in middle school? So, and actually one was Sabrina talks about Gabby 103.
Right.
It was kind of a similar name. Of course, I didn't put the actual name of her handle, but I think actually that initial part of me that wanted to like, well, you know, go on their YouTube channel and be like, are you kidding with your tutorials? Like, get alive. So that part of me had to kind of just play out, which I didn't, you know, act on it. But then, you know, the logical part, it's, you know, I'm reading this book called The Artist's Way, and I love this book because it talks about your inner artist is also an inner child. So like in order to continue to create your art, we have to take care of that inner child in a sense that, you know, when you do have those moments where you experience negative feedback or, you know, constructive criticism is is just that, is constructive. You could take it, and even though it might sting a little, you're like, okay, well, how can I turn that into getting better?
Right.
So that's different. But when someone just slams you or says something hurtful, there's nothing you can take from that. So that part of my brain makes sense. But then letting that little inner child within me be like, process that and go through those emotions and kind of care for that. It talks about taking your inner child out on some dates, which, kind of hard to do during a quarantine. There's certain things in that book that I'm like, it makes sense though. When you really, if you've read that book, it really talks about learning to just because, if you want to continue to create as an artist or an entertainer, you've got to be able to acknowledge those setbacks or those moments and be like, oh, that hurt, but okay, I'll get over it. It might take me a couple days, but you just gotta. We
were chatting in our call before this about collecting truths, collecting the truths of things, because whatever we're already struggling with, any person is struggling with in their mind. In that moment, we tend to, as humans, walk around and collect evidence of that. So if our inner child, inner version, inner creative is saying, oh yeah, that you were in some cases someone may already be hesitant to put the work out and already scared, catastrophizing what could happen with people saying things, then we sometimes collect the data of the negative stuff. But when we then can collect the opposing list, like we were talking about, of the positive things, the backstory of the person that's slamming the person, or just in general, just collecting truths and let take the power away from the negative data or the negative false truths. Yeah, it's so important, and I do love that book as well. I was trying to find my copy before we hopped on. I love it. It's marked in all the margins. It's just I have to go back and reread it because it's a struggle. And as you and I were talking about, with women or even men, we have hormonal shifts, life happening, and it can just add to what that meanness of other people. But I just love that you just plowed over that, and you're just continuing because it's so important as a creative.
Yeah. And I think you got to remember the positive feedback. I don't think I'd keep things going if I wasn't getting the positive feedback. That helps. That helps me, like, okay, I'm getting a good response over here. Of course, you're always not everyone's going to like everything we do, and that's okay. I'm a fan of plenty of artists out there. I don't absolutely love everything they always do. There's certain things I'm like, oh, that was good. That was not as good, but I'm still a fan.
Right.
And so I just have to, that's just part of letting people have their own opinions and not taking it too personally.
Yeah. And see,
go ahead.
That's that wisdom that you've collected over the years of, you were collecting so many things when you were, raising kids and dipping your foot in the pool of comedy. And it's just, that wisdom is carrying you through times like that, where people are saying things, and it wouldn't have been the same maybe when you were in your 20s because you hadn't collected that data about that yet. And I love to recommend to women to keep I call it a Raining on Prom Night journal. There's a whole story behind the name, and that's just to fill it with good things, which is sometimes a hard exercise for women, to just talk about the positivity. If somebody compliments you, if there's somebody leaves you a note, somebody shares something, just collect. That's like physical data. Just collect it and keep it for the days when you feel like, again, long story why it's called that, but when it's quote unquote raining on prom night, and you just need some encouragement in addition to leaning on your faith and your true tribe, to just go back and look at that physical data and go, okay, there's a lot of truth in here, and that just lessen the power of the negative. Well,
that's good. That's good. I need to do that because those days do happen for sure.
You and I were also chatting about just again, life in general. I know that your family, so, and that's what's interesting about, is with comedy, I don't know if people assume that there isn't, tragedy and grief and hard times. We just, when you get on a stage, that's the job, is to, do what you're doing. But behind the scenes, often comedy, it stems from tragedy or heartbreak, but you have had tragedy and heartbreak and just a sense of grief in your family and extended family.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just, I think it's globally, obviously we're
Right.
all in a sense, the world is suffering at large right now. But then within all of our families, we have to go through stuff. So, but in a sense, that's just life, right? So yeah, we just last week lost my nephew, on my husband's side of the family. So it was just unexpected, and so we're having to kind of go through that right now.
Mhm.
And my husband's been gone since the whole quarantine started. He was out working in Las Vegas, and what turned into a few weeks, it was 2 months by the time we just flew back and from seeing him for a few days. So that was, that was hard, because we're in this pandemic and I'm not with my partner, my husband. And so that's been really challenging. But then again, it's like, I've used the opportunity as like, okay, well, he's not here. What can I do? So that's, I'm kind of really pouring into a lot of creativity right now, which is the blessing out of it. But it was really hard, so we got to, my two daughters and I, we flew out and saw him. And then, we just came back late Tuesday night, and I got on that plane, and I think everything hit me, because we had just lost our nephew, which I wanted to get to my husband as soon as I could, because I knew that was really hard for him, and it was hard for me, but I think by the time I finally got on the plane and knowing I'm leaving him again, it's probably going to be another 3 weeks till I see him. Yeah, I think life just hit me. And of course, the creativity that we talked about, there was just some things that I had seen or felt, it's like, I consider my career, it's like this baby, it's another child. It's this extension of me in a sense. So when that is kind of some things where I was looking at some other, that's the dangerous part. Stay in your lane, right? Don't look at what other people are doing. And because it's like, wait, hold on, wait, I want to. So I think I was compounded. I got on the plane and I got hit with so many emotions. It's weird I'm really, I tend to stay really good, a pulse check on things, but I didn't realize the grief that was really going on within me, and felt so just sad, anxious, crazy,
right.
And just, it's taken me, I'm feeling better now, but I think it doesn't matter how much you've overcome, how much books I've read, things, prayer, life is gonna hit you. And I think learning to let myself be human, let myself have a bad moment, is just part of the human condition. And I think that's something that I've had to learn to grow in, is just grace and letting myself, you said it earlier, it's okay to not be okay. I think as a woman, you want to have it all together. You want to have the power. You want to, you got to be in control. You got to have all the answers. And I think most people feel that way, woman or male or female. It's just part of who we are as humans. But man, it just doesn't make you immune to life. Life hits you, and I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. So much.
Yeah. First, my condolences regarding your nephew. That's it's just so hard. I know. I can't imagine what you guys are going through with that. And then you have a different sense of grief that your husband is away, and you've been, and other griefs that you mentioned too, like comparison in a world of creativity, and they don't all have. I mean, they're all important, they all have that space in your life. And that one, and the grief of like, hey, what are you guys saying on YouTube? I mean, it's real life stuff. And that's what I love talking about on these times together with creatives or whoever it is that I'm talking with, that life just goes on and happens. And I love when you shared that this morning. I just really honed in when you were talking about that eureka moment, just sitting there in the seat of the plane, and it just all of it. I mean, so then when you start grieving over one thing, it all just comes out. And I love that you were able to do that unapologetically and just allow yourself to cry and to feel it. And you and I processed on 10 minutes on the phone earlier, like a lot of stuff that's going on in both of our lives. And it's important to just like you were just reiterating, to grieve it, feel it, and not feel bad about it. And just a lot of times people say, oh, well, try to think of this or try to think of that. And it's, you gotta process it. Otherwise it's still going to be sitting there holding.
And I think, it's all about, your tools and your toolbox and learning, and those are great. And here's the truth. I mean, life will still hit you, and I think that's something that helps me stay humble, because it doesn't matter how much I've done this, how much I still am human. I still feel, I still have to grieve. I still have to, and sometimes I'm so overwhelmed with emotions. It's just anxiety. And you can't even see the sad. You can't even see the hurt because you're so, and I've even learned that that's another coping mechanism too. But learning.
Elaborate on that. I love that. Will you elaborate?
Well, I think anxiety, like fearfulness, all that, it's a distraction too, instead of dealing with the root of the pain. Anxiety can be for me, it's kind of like, okay, something's not right. What's going on? But if you get so caught in the anxiety, you don't really go to the root of, okay, well, you're grieving, you're sad, this is happening. And then once you can start to peel back the layers of, oh, that's why I'm struggling. That's why I'm hurting right now. And then give myself a chance to grieve, give myself a chance to process, cry, get it out, and then get to the other side of it. But I just think that in the past, when I would have really hard, dark moments, depression, whatever, it would just almost consume me. It became such a part of my identity. Now, as I've gotten older, I could see that as, well, what is going on? And not beat myself up that I had a weak moment. Like weakness is okay. Like that's part of just being human. And because of, my upbringing, there's a part of me that really doesn't want to have anything to do with feeling sadness or weakness. And it's like you push that stuff down deep and you just keep going. That's what I want to do, but that keeps you sick. That keeps you unhealed. And when you can just pull it out into the light, deal with it, process it, talk it through, journal, read the word, ask God to help you. That's where the healing is. And you can get healed from all your stuff, but you're going to still have life. So there's always going to be stuff that we keep having to heal from and having to overcome until this journey's over. It's a journey. And I would imagine the world at large right now is going through kind of a grieving process, in a sense that life as we know it is not going to be the way, it's just not going to go back to normal, for a while. So I think as a country, as a nation, as a world, we're all trying to figure out what does it look like next, and give ourselves a moment to not be okay.
Right.
I know early on in the pandemic, like just driving down the road, it would just hit me, like the anxiety, the fear, because it's like, wait, this is my world, but it's not safe anymore. And so I had to kind of really process all that and, kind of land on where I am now, which is kind of what you said. I don't spend the amount of time that I did at the beginning watching every news story and every video. It was like my mind was, I overloaded it. And, we were just all trying to figure out what was happening at the beginning. But now I've just kind of worked through that. And, but there's so much going on right now. I think it's okay to not be okay, like you said.
Yeah.
And
I love the wisdom that you shared too. Everything stems from something. Everything's rooted in something. And with your upbringing, you kind of had this, just this feeling of maybe you can't feel that way, but I love that you shouldn't feel that way, or you have to toughen up. And I wasn't sure exactly the detail of what you meant there, but I love that your wisdom through the years to just determine that it's allowable. And it's not only allowable, it's essential. It's an essential item. When we're talking about essential items, permission is one of the greatest essential items we have right now for ourselves. Because like you said, on TV, there's so many opinions, there's so many videos, there's so much going on and swirling. And we get to give ourselves permission to feel what we're feeling, no matter what anybody else says about how we should handle that. Allow it. And if it's grief, to really process that as long as you need to, because it's just going to sit there and be a powerful gunpowder somewhere else.
Wow.
It's going to creep up. So I love that you said that. And you were also talking about anxiety and with regard to the pandemic itself, when we were talking about quote unquote collecting data, we collect this list of bad things and false things and negative things, but then collecting the good things too, to hang on, just to see progress. And that's what I found, like this little notion popped in the other day. Like I went to the store and I, in the beginning, it was grieving, just going to Costco and saying, hey, wait a minute, Costco's not the same. But then I made a note that going in the store now isn't the same. And it wasn't scary when people first started wearing masks all the time, and you had to process that. But then I started collecting the data of, I saw a couple more people smile today. I saw, in Michigan anyway, you have to wear masks. I saw that most people are just wearing their mask, and it's just like they've grown into this is a new normal right now. And it's just it's the data piece of it's a new comfort, a new normal. And that's just something to collect, to know. The reason I talk about that is just to know that on the other side, you've endured it, you've seen growth, and you have that contrast that can sometimes, right? Don't you feel that too? It just calms your heart when you collect the data, wisdom, truth telling, whatever you want to call it. We know there's another side. It just, the duration, we don't know, but we do know when we are feeling it, we can just say, anxiety right now, permission to feel it, absolutely. Yeah. And then some of the truth starts coming in when you're ready for it.
Yeah.
It's always there waiting, but at least it's important to have the list ready in your mind.
Right. And then I think it's before, you would just, I would, whenever any negative emotion would rise up, distract from it, get busy. Don't go there. Don't go there. It's not, you can't. But learning to accept that, it's acceptance. Of course I'm feeling, give yourself, of course I'm anxious. Of course I'm sad. And then fill in the blank. What is that? What am I anxious about? What am I sad about? And then it's like, when we can give ourselves that permission, it's like we have the keys. And if we're the problem, we can be the solution. It's like, I'm not waiting for somebody else outside of me or some other, like God has given us within ourselves, the ability to cope and deal. I just think we're in such a society of distract and busyness, and I could be just as guilty as the next person. Trust me, I can get on my phone and boom, it's like the drug of choice for 2020. Get on your phone. You don't have to feel, and God's kind of taken away the distractions because a lot of people are working for, we're home. So that's one thing that I think, is not such a bad thing. But anyway, I think it is that permission. And the more you get to the other side of this, and the only way you get to the other side of this is you have to go through it,
right?
And we don't get here.
Right.
We only get here because we had to journey here. And, as hard as it is, it's like, would I take any of it back? No, man, it's empowering. It's empowering to get to the other side of this and know, wow, look what I got through that. Oh, I'll get through this. That's, so
little lily pads of courage, just our life is just connected by those, just different, hopping from one to the other, but knowing, in between there, there's all sorts of possibilities for anything, but just gaining that wisdom and that courage over time. And I just, I can't even, I know same for you. You can't reiterate enough that it's just important to allow ourselves. So I love your heart. I love you. I'm so blessed that we met all those years ago in Atlanta. we are, I know a lot of people are grieving a lot of different things. We all, Jen and I both belong to the Christian Comedy Association. And we were just saying today, you were pointing out that we would be on a plane today heading to our, to get together with all of our friends at the CCA, but soon enough.
That's right. That's right. We could connect this way.
A lot of people know that have seen these videos that the cubbyhole here, it's a place for laughter, light, and love. And the way that I represent the laughter is all of my comedy buddies, and most everybody up here is from the Christian Comedy Association. And then I pulled this down.
Well, looky there.
Jennifer O'Brien. Now, the only thing wrong with this photo is that it's not signed, because that means you haven't physically been to the cubbyhole yet, but I can't wait till the day I hand you a silver Sharpie and you have been here and you sign it, and you can bless this stage. And
I can't wait. I can't wait.
With your awesomeness. Well, I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait till we get off the phone and we have our follow-up conversation. Oh my God. And just chat. But just love you so much. Thank you so much for your heart, your truth, your journey, all of the inspiration that you have brought to everybody. So I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This has been fun. I appreciate it. All right. Love you. Thanks for having me.
Love you too. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay.
Bye everybody.